shall
Welcome to the Sunday
go the dark
Superversive
eye,
live stream.
cut out the
I am
man.
sorry. Uh, anyway, welcome to the Sunday Superversive live stream. I am your host Benjamin Wheeler, and I'm not with my co-host Anthony Marquetta. He will be back next week, I'm sure. Might have some more guests next week too, but this week I've got two guests for you. First is Paper Doll Mary, who we've had on to talk about the Paper Doll Veronica series, which is a personal favorite of mine, as well as a storyteller to discuss the project they're working on together, which is an Advent story about a little bird, it looks like. Uh, let's see here. Advent Story, The Little Drummer Bird Picture Book Edition. It's already been funded. Um, People have really been enjoying this thing. So I decided to have them on. How are you two doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Excellent. And you, storyteller? Oh,
This teller is sorry, but he appears to have brought with him tons of technical issues. Might have to
well,
abandon ship due to
we're hearing
technology.
you loud and clear at this time.
All right, well, I'll stick around for as long as it still functions. It's probably
Fair enough.
from doing this entirely on a phone or the internet connection, one of those things.
Right. Uh,
And
anyway.
many apologies if things go mad.
It's all right. Why don't you tell us about the story and the crowdfund you've got here? What is the story about? Could you give us a synopsis?
In a later, on a later point, in a later point, it's described somewhat as being a carol. As to whether that was quite correct to label it as such, it's another thing. It's a pretty simple story in many ways. It's about a little bird in the cold and dark, very much near death, and then he's given an opportunity to accomplish a great and glorious task, and with it, find himself in fan position as well. Lots of strange
All right.
encounters throughout the story.
So is this little bird a messenger or just a random chance of fate or uh, anything like that?
Well,
Hmm.
As you might have guessed from his accent, Snowy Teller is joining us from across the ocean, so that might contribute to the communication difficulties here.
Unfortunately, so. Uh, all right. We'll see if he comes back on. Uh, but for now, Mary, could you take over?
Yeah, so the story is about this little bird who's asked to invite everyone in the hedges and the highways to a feast on a cold, dark winter night. And he meets lots of varied and whimsical characters that he and some hostile, some friendly, some silly, that he invites along, and some allies that he joined him along the way. And it blends elements from, like, well, regular winter and Christmas emblems like gingerbread men and snowmen, with more specifically things from the carol, The 12 Days of Christmas My True Love Gave to Me, and elements from, not exactly taken from, but inspired by Anderson and Hoffman, and lots of and biblical sources, and it's just very, very Christmassy and a wonderful fairy tale. And so how it happened that I proposed the project of making it into an illustrated book. Storyteller originally posted it last Advent, on Substack, along with he does, as well as verbal stories, he does sculptures in polymer clay, and so he had for each day of December leading up to Christmas, he had a segment of the story with a sculpture of one of the characters that have lots of different forms. And it was day 14 that really, you've got to read what's leading up to it and then read it, and the imagery is just amazing. That's an example of a biblical influence when of the way he handles the 7 swans of swimming. And that year I didn't know what to do for my Christmas card. I usually draw a picture every year for the Christmas card I just send to friends and family. And when I read that chapter, it was like, okay, this is what I need to do for my Christmas card. And this is the picture I drew that year.
Ooh, that's wonderful.
And so then when I posted it online and showed it to him, he was quite impressed, and he was gratified and thought it was very nice. And so then later I proposed that we could do an entire picture book of it. It's going to have 36 or 37 illustrations in the same sort of style. And the idea is we fund it, and then so far 9 people have backed it, and so they'll get, most of them did it so on the level to get a copy of the book. But then once it's made, and we want to have it available for Christmas next year, 2026. And then it will also be available for purchase for anybody. Though you'll probably get a better price if you back the crowdfund at the book level than if you buy the book later. Because we're using Lulu, which I used for the Paper Doll Veronica Part 1 Forest book. I was very, very pleased with the quality and the interface, but it is quite pricey, and it just mostly goes to the production. A book in color is quite expensive to produce, and so for the Paper Doll Veronica fund, the backers paid $50 plus shipping for their books, and it ended up being a bit more than that on Lulu. And now and Lulu has had to raise their prices again since, because of the cost of production and materials and international shipping and all that. And so now if you buy it on Lulu, it's $66. So you got a better deal if you back the fund, and it's probably going to be the same for this one. So back the fund.
Fair. Oh yeah. Well, it's like with a lot of these things. How do I want to put it? Prices change, and there's
Mm-hmm.
no guarantee. It is always best to back these. Um, you've got quite a few different rewards. So, is this one of those things where you receive the whole um, advent calendar?
The advent calendar is a stretch goal. We found a place, just a website custom advent calendar. So I would, if we meet that goal, I'll create a separate illustration that will have each story element of each part on the little door, and it'll come with little chocolates produced by this promotional company. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not yet available, but it's a stretch goal if we reach a certain level.
I getcha. I getcha.
But the rewards we have so far are the book as a PDF, the book itself, and then Christmas cards. And there's two, and that's the thing. The book, we're making that for next Christmas, 2026. But there is a set of Christmas cards that you can get for this Christmas. In that I've got to finish the pictures for them and print out the cards and ship them within the next couple weeks, so that people will have them for Christmas. And so if you want that, you have to back by Tuesday, the 25th. Yeah.
I
And
getcha.
that will include 4 different pictures that I will have drawn so far. This is the last one that I have to finish for that set, and you get 2 cards of each picture for a set of 8 Christmas cards.
That's pretty cool. See, so the $5 the PDF, then the $10 is the Christmas cards. Um, little paperback copy is 25. Uh, the hardback is 30. Um, stuff like that that you mentioned already. Uh, nice little sketches for 100. More for 200, and let's see. Then 300 is the sculptures.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. All right. So I getcha. So sorry. Normally we're a lot earlier, and and I usually have a little more time to prepare, but fortunately I'm coming straight from a church meeting, unrelated to me. To be clear. To be clear. I do like this Christmas stuff. Tell us, you know, a little bit about the history of Advent calendars and whatnot. Uh, it's something that I've seen, but I've never really looked into.
Not particularly. I mean, I think I know more about the Advent wreath, the Sundays of Advent.
Why don't you tell us about the wreath? It's not
Well,
something I've ever worked with.
the wreath corresponds to each of the 4 Sundays leading up to Advent. You light the candle, and 3 purple for the penitential nature, which is something that is rather lost these days. But any major feast, you have a period
Yes.
of penitence to prepare for the coming of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Both, remembering his coming in the incarnation 2,000 years ago, but also coming to us and to our hearts. Like John the Baptist said, prepare the way of the Lord. And then the pink one, or it's not pink, it's rose, is a bit of lightening and rejoicing in the anticipation, lightening the penance.
Right.
Yeah.
That's admittedly, it sounds a little confusing to my overworked Protestant brain. Why don't you tell us a bit about the piece you're working on the screen?
Okay, so this is an illustration that happens rather late in the story. Right now I'm working on just the marker layer, which is the basic values and color temperature. And then later I'll use watercolor soluble pencils and crayons to get in more details and variation of the local colors. But this is the Snow Queen's palace, which is described very evocatively in the story as being like a hand, and maybe you can see that there are 5 towers like a hand reaching towards the moon.
Very nice.
And carved of ice with delicate statues too beautiful to be called gargoyles, and ramps and slides where the Snow Queen likes to sled in her sleigh. And to launch into the sky scattering snow. And then near the end of the story, as they're approaching, you might be able to see our heroes, small down here, are approaching the palace, because it seems to be that what is amiss might be emanating from there. And this story is all available to read right now. So there's no, I don't know if I will like this story if I get this book. You can read the story on Substack, on Snowy Teller Substack. So I encourage you to do so. And so, yeah.
Are you also ill, Mary?
No, I'm just a little tired, and it's and so didn't I, since I'm not the creator of the story part of this one, but
Yes.
it's harder to think of. I don't know the whole thought process behind it, so I hope he can come back to us soon.
I hope so too. I guess. Sorry, full crash.
Well,
He says, "Yeah, no. It looks like he's just had some technical problems." Let's see here. Don't know either on the advent calendar. Suspect commercial in origin. Advent doesn't start the 1st of December. Some particular Sunday, can't remember. The story was, after all, completed last year. Yeah. I'm sure the information is on the website, where you can contact the creator and look at his different things here. Really, I'm just happy that you guys got funded so quickly. It's always nice to see, especially since I'm such a big fan of Paper Doll Veronica.
Thank you. And I learned so much from the Paper Doll Veronica crowdfund that I'm very glad I know going into this of how to and figuring out how to use Lulu, was like, I could make any book now.
Right.
And with the, I used to think, I can only make a book if I get, I get an agent and picked up and everything. Especially because I always wanted to illustrate books, and it seemed like that was even more hopeless than being a writer. Like, you had to be part of an illustration agency and have a portfolio and everything. But
well, I was.
Just...
Yes. Well, it's like talking about that stuff. I've been following Sarah Frazetta as she goes over her grandfather's work, Frank Frazetta, and I was shocked by how much he's just wandering around, like, looks into things. Hey, you're my buddy, Frank. We got a contract to do some Tarzan paintings. He's like, I'm not doing anything else, and I like Tarzan. Let's do it. It's it's kind of shocking to me, that he kept the North Star of his fantastic artwork, but then also, you know, for a man like Frank Frazetta, who is a household name in every literary circle when it comes to illustration, it's like, oh yeah, no, there were times when, you know, he was fired, kicked
Mhm.
out, had arguments, refused to let them, deal with the art like, they wanted to.
Mhm. Well, it's really incredible that the people that I've seen on Substack. There's John Erickson, who wrote
Mm-hmm.
The Cow Dog, and he just published an article about how he was self-publishing at first back in the 80s because the New York people, they didn't want stories about Texas cowboys, rural people, and
Yeah.
and then in 2000 and then he was fantastically successful, picked up by Penguin and I mean, when I was a kid, Hank the Cow Dog was a huge thing whenever we went to the library.
Yeah.
And then he said in 2010 they just suddenly dropped him, and so he went back to self-publishing.
Yep.
It's crazy. And
You never know with these things. Yes.
right,
Keep going.
and it's you know, old pub is failing now, and there's lots of people making new things independently, but it's harder to imagine things becoming as big as they were in the 20th century, like Frank Frazetta and that sort, and how 100 years from now, what will be remembered because what was able to reach as many people. It's hard to know what it will be like.
Mm. I always I never try to go too crazy on what people will and won't remember. Partially because I've got a lot of things that no one remembers today, like grandmother's wonderful chair and stuff, which is about this by Francis Browns, which some do remember. But it's like some kids go to fairyland and have adventures and learn moral lessons. It's very fun. But then it's like, how did something like Pilgrim's Progress, which you wouldn't think would be something that would sell immensely well, spread all over the world and was rivaling the Bible as a bestseller, but I promise you, for all the stuff that like Pilgrim's Progress and the Fairy Queen is remembered, like so much has been forgotten. Like we remember Shakespeare and we kind of remember that one guy who was his rival, but in reality, most of that stuff is forgotten. It is like, no, like it as not, most of what is produced is forgotten. And we're in a time when most people are going to make things and they just will be forgotten. And
A
I
lot of
don't
it
mean this.
should be.
And a lot of it should be. You're absolutely right. Some of the stuff I've read, it's like it's a 20-book series, and then they're selling all 20 in one giant Kindle book for 99 cents. It's like, yeah, buddy, sure. And I read it, and it's like, interesting hook, nothing really to it. And then some pablum romance, and it's like, that doesn't work for me, Haas. It just doesn't. That's why I like things like Paper Doll Veronica. A lot of the Arctoon stuff is nice, even though I don't follow it like I should. It's why I try to support a lot of these crowdfunds by having the authors and, in your case, illustrators on. It's important. Put a little data out there, a little scrap. I can't imagine what people, like I'm sure you've seen like the JD Vance memes and stuff like that. It's like there's going to be like 50 pictures of him looking normal and then 100 pictures of him as a meme. And it's like, what, like you'll have arguments, well, what comes from this and that? Did
Future
he
historians won't know which was real.
who it's people like to say, oh, it's digital, it'll be remembered forever. It's like, no,
Mhm.
in fact, it's worse. At least with the clay tablets, it'll last forever. But
Mhm.
in our case, it's a server farm that requires XYZ power and everything else, and it's currently being run by incompetents, to put it very politely, who don't understand what they're doing. Um, even beyond things like AI vibe coding, it's like no, it's like
Mhm.
no, 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 no. This is, we need physical media.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you will be lost forever.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, that's kind of my big thing on it. Because it's like guys like Isaac Young and even ourselves with Pinkerton's Ghosts. It's like, yeah, I've distributed like files,
Mhm.
but at the same time, it's very much true that um, if a random EMP hits the U.S., they'll be gone,
Yeah.
washed away.
The most permanent form of sound recording would be a vinyl record, I suppose. But
Yeah.
even that could, if it gets scratched.
Right. All right.
All I wanted to mention, many people might have seen, or I don't know, if, but when I first took notice of Snowyteller was in a comment on the Sigma Game Substack, where he
Yes.
told this sort of fable about the little, it was a mouse or a squirrel,
Okay.
looks for the meaning of success, and he asks various animals in the forest, and each animal represents one of the ranks of the social sexual hierarchy. And it was interesting, but what made it more than just an assigning of animals to these ranks of male behavior was at the end, uh, the snake and the owl, and that's what brings it beyond that. And
Mm-hmm.
Vox said he will include this fable in the eventual social sexual hierarchy book. So
Yeah.
everybody look for it there, and mark my words, the snake and the owl, they're elevated into something more. And likewise with the little drummer bird, it's elevated
Yeah.
more than just an animal story. You'll see.
All right. Um, Considering that all my co-hosts are falling around me, like a reverse, like the Black Death has hit town. Maybe we'll just call it a day. Do you have anything else you'd like to promote?
um, well, as soon as I finish this picture and get the Christmas card set for this year ready, I
Mm-hmm.
need to work on two things that I've been working on for years and need to finish. Well, there's still quite a ways from finishing, but they also can be found on ArcTunes. They are Bovadar and the Bears by Jack Michelson and
Right, right.
Clockwork Dancer by John Delarose. And with Bovadar and the Bears, I just need to finish some covers, and then volume 1 of issues 1, 2, 3 will be complete, and we'll see about trying to get it into the form of a physical book. Whether that will be with Archaven or self doing it ourselves with Lulu, we'll have to wait and see. And then issue 3 of Clockwork Dancer, I'm going to try to finish my part of it. Oh, Snowyteller's back. Hello?
Hello, sir. or not so much.
Ugh.
Maybe the dead will stay dead in this digital realm. Uh, but yes, I look forward to it. Clockwork Dancer has been a long time project from John De La Roz. Uh, and I think he is severely underappreciated by his many, many haters. Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
And
oh, well.
I blame myself a lot for being slow on that. And I said, well, clockwork robots and architecture are harder to top than bears and trees. But that doesn't excuse me. So I really need to try to finish issue 3 of that. Issues 1 and 2 are available on Amazon, and you can read it on
Mm-hmm.
iTunes. I'll try to finish issue 3 this year. And then there's one more issue of that to complete the story. And it too looks to our Lord to and give it, and that gives it meaning.
Mm-hmm.
He gives it meaning, I should say, beyond a simple steampunk adventure, and it is that, and this is a very fun steampunk adventure, but looking to that which is beyond and that which is above, that which he who comes at Christmas. And
All right.
thank you.
Thank you guys, and thank you guys for joining in and listening in. I do hope you'll support the fundraiser. I know I've been very happy with the products that Mary Paper Doll has produced, and I think you'll also be pleased. Thank you guys. Happy Thanksgiving. I might have Isaac Young soonish, or next week we'll just laugh at a very bad Twitter post. Have a good night, guys.